Hey, what's up everybody? I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. This is Rudraditya, and in this video I'm going to do an ultimate camera comparison between these three phones: the Realme GT Neo 3, OnePlus 9R and the OnePlus 10R. Well, Realme GT Neo 3 and the OnePlus 10R is basically the same phone. I mean, OnePlus 10R is the rebranded version of the Realme GT Neo 3, and I already discussed about this in my previous videos, but here I am really hoping for a better camera result in the OnePlus 10R as compared to Realme GT Neo 3, even though the hardware is same. I mean, the camera hardware is same. You will get the same Sony IMX 716 50 megapixel in the primary lens. Then in the ultra wide you will get 8 megapixel in both the phones, whereas in OnePlus 9R you will get a 48 megapixel Sony IMX 586 sensor, which is a bit outdated as compared to the 716 which used in these two phones. But the ultra wide is 16 megapixel f2.2, so double the megapixels as compared to these phones. And yes, OnePlus 10R is the successor of the OnePlus 9R. Talking about the third lens, then all comes with macro sensor, but Realme GT Neo 3 and the OnePlus 10R comes with 2 megapixel macro sensor, whereas the OnePlus 9R comes with 5 megapixel macro sensor. So I don't know. Well, as I talked about the primary lens, yeah, the specifications are same, no doubt, but we are paying more for OnePlus 10R. For what? Yeah, brand value is there, but maybe the image processing is better in the OnePlus, maybe, so that's why they are charging more. And of course they should give a better camera performance in the OnePlus 10R as compared to Realme GT Neo 3, because you know, this phone is available for 39,000, this phone is available for 37,000, and after card discount the gap between these two phones is of 7,000 rupees, which is a huge gap. So of course I'm betting better camera performance here in the OnePlus 10R. So that's why I'm so excited to check all these three phones and also how much difference in these two phones, because 10R is the successor of the OnePlus 9R. So yeah, now without wasting any time, let's begin this camera test. Alright guys, so starting first with the daylight shots with the primary lens, then I guess I didn't notice a huge difference in all these three smartphones, but definitely the colors of the OnePlus 9R is very consistent as compared to the other two. I mean, for example, in this pic the Realme GT Neo 3 and in this pic the OnePlus 10R is not very consistent. The dynamic range is also hit and miss in all the three phones, but when we are talking about the colors and the picture quality, definitely OnePlus 9R impressed me the most with the white balance as well. OnePlus 9R did a very good job, and it's so surprising because it comes with Sony IMX 586, whereas the other two phones comes with Sony IMX 766. But still, with the primary lens, OnePlus 9R did a fabulous job. Then on the second number, Realme GT Neo 3, and then the OnePlus 10R. Well, talking about the ultra wide angle shots, then again the difference is not very huge, but the white balance is very good and the shadow area is also very good in OnePlus 9R. For example, in this photo, whereas you know OnePlus 10R tends to click yellowish pics, and sometimes in the ultra wide angle lens, you know, Realme GT Neo 3 also clicked a very yellowish pic, whereas OnePlus 9R is spot on with the exposure and with the shadows and overall with the white balance. For example, this, how good the image of OnePlus 9R is looking. But I do notice one very weird thing in ultra wide angle lens. When we put a human subject into the picture, OnePlus 9R clicks a very dark picture, whereas OnePlus 10R done a very good job, especially in this picture. You can see that how well it exposed me, and also it managed to keep the dynamic range by exposing the sun properly in the background. Same goes in this image as well. You can see that how dark I am in the image of OnePlus 9R, whereas OnePlus 10R and GT Neo 3 done a good job in this image. But if we talk about other regular shots, then I don't think that there is a huge difference in the ultra wide angle lens. It's just that they all need to optimize their cameras a little bit more, especially OnePlus 10R needs a lot of, you know, software improvements from here on. Alright, now let's see some portrait samples. So starting with the blur, I mean, I definitely like the blur of 9R and 10R. I didn't like the blur of GT Neo 3 because it looks artificial. It blurs the background too much, which I personally don't like. Talking about the skin tones, then in this picture I really like the skin tones of OnePlus 10R. It's very natural. Well, in this phone OnePlus 9R is the worst. I don't know what's the problem, but in sunlight it just burned my skins, like I have tan all over the skin. And in this image again I like the, you know, skin tones of OnePlus 10R. In this image I like the Realme GT Neo 3. So sometimes I like the image of GT Neo 3, sometimes like in this this image, OnePlus 9R is definitely better in terms of skin tones. So it's not like one phone is better than the other ones. These are some normal non-portrait shots, and again, even in non-portrait shots, OnePlus 9R burned my skin, so I will go with GT Neo 3 and OnePlus 10R in this image. And in this image, in the next image, you can see OnePlus 9R and GT Neo 3 done a better job as compared to OnePlus 10R. So it's very confusing. It's not like one phone is clearly a better phone when it comes to human subjects. So it's very confusing, but I hope with my image samples you get an idea so you can decide by your own. Alright guys, so this is the front camera video test of all these phones, and unfortunately you cannot shoot 4K from any of these cameras, and you should definitely check the prices of all these three phones, and you cannot shoot 4K. And also the another bummer is that you cannot shoot 1080p 60 fps. You can only shoot 1080p 30 fps from all these three phones. However, I can notice one thing, that the OnePlus 9R is the most zoomed in, whereas in the OnePlus 10R I am getting the most wide angle, whereas the Realme GT Neo 3 is like between both of these two phones. And this is how it performs against the sunlight. I can't see at the moment, but I will definitely check the footage in the video. Alright guys, so this is 4K footage test, and in OnePlus 9R and GT Neo 3 you will get 4K 60 fps, but unfortunately, well, this is very weird as well, that in OnePlus 10R you will get maximum support of 4K 30 fps only, whereas GT Neo 3 and the OnePlus 10R is almost identical. Even in cameras, in terms of features, yeah, you won't get like a video portrait like in different filters. In Realme phones you will get tons of filters as well, but in OnePlus phones that is missing, but that is still manageable. But 4K 60 is a big deal. Like in a 39,000 rupees phone you won't get 4K 60, whereas in Realme and OnePlus 9R, but in Realme GT Neo 3 and the OnePlus 9R you are getting 4K 60 fps. And yes, OnePlus 10R is the successor of the OnePlus 9R, but still it doesn't have the support of 4K 60. Now this is 4K 30 fps from all the cameras, and again the stabilization in OnePlus 9R is just outstanding. Even in 4K 60 fps the stabilization is so good in OnePlus 9R, whereas Realme GT Neo 3 lacks in 4K 60 as well as in 4K 30. There is no stabilization. Same goes for OnePlus 10R. It can only shoot up to 4K 30 and there is no stabilization. So OnePlus 9R is rock solid and definitely blows both of these phones in just one shot. And also the image, the picture quality is much better in OnePlus 9R. Just look at the difference. Right now I am running and Realme GT Neo 3 and 10R is looking useless, whereas 9R is so good. So yes, definitely I am impressed with the video capabilities of OnePlus 9R the most. One more very good feature is that you can switch between the lenses while recording in OnePlus 9R. You can go to wide, ultra wide and also 2x digital zoom, whereas in GT Neo 3 and OnePlus 10R you can't do that. So definitely when it comes to video recording and video capabilities, I guess OnePlus 9R will give you the most advanced features, and also the overall video quality is the best in OnePlus 9R in all these three phones. Well, now let's talk about another surprise category, which is low light. Here I expected better performance from both Realme GT Neo 3 and OnePlus 10R because of its larger sensor, because when I compared the Nord 2, which also comes with same Sony IMX766 sensor, definitely performed much better in front of OnePlus 9R, but here that's not the case. Especially OnePlus 10R needs a lot of software optimization. I guess they launched this phone in hurry by just making a rebranded version of GT Neo 3, and they didn't optimize the software at all. OnePlus 9R performed really well against this too, and I was not expecting this at all. So this is definitely a surprising result for me. And at last guys, there is two samples of macro shots, and simply the 5 megapixel macro camera of the OnePlus 9R destroyed the 2 megapixel macro cameras of the GT Neo 3 and the OnePlus 10R, as you can see in the image. Alright guys, so that's all the photo samples and video samples. That's it, that's the comparison, and I have edited the whole thing right now. I checked all the footages and here is the edited video. I will export it. Before that I am shooting this. So yeah, in the end I guess overall the best smartphone camera is the OnePlus 9R, because if you see the video as well as photos, definitely OnePlus 9R is better, and I was expecting better performance from the Realme and OnePlus 10R in the low light department, but there wasn't a big difference as compared to OnePlus 9R. So in these three phones, definitely OnePlus 9R is my pick, and I'm so surprised. I mean, OnePlus 10R is the successor of the OnePlus 9R, but it doesn't feel like a successor, at least in the camera department. Well, I'm testing both the phones. Of course, OnePlus 9R, I have used OnePlus 9R for a long time, and I'm testing OnePlus 10R as well. So the comparison of those two phones will also come, like the full comparison. So make sure to subscribe the channel for that, and also tap the bell icon, select all to get all the notifications of my channel. But yeah, in this video, definitely OnePlus 9R is the best, and then Realme GT Neo 3 maybe on the second, and OnePlus 10R on the third. So I am definitely disappointed with the camera performance of the OnePlus 10R. And yeah, you know what, fun fact, first time I have included 3 smartphone cameras into one video. I did a lot of camera comparisons in the past, but I always compared 2 phones at a time, never 3 phones. This time I did that, and it's too much fun, but at the same time it was so difficult to edit 3 cameras. It is so complicated. So yeah, it took a lot of effort to edit this type of comparison videos. So give it a thumbs up, and also share this video with your friends. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I will see you very soon in my next video. Until then, bye bye, take care.